guys, welcome to the Brett Robson YouTube channel. Today I am very excited to be bringing you an exciting video about our soi-mème DIY candle box. I'm Brett and I am the candle making fundi, I guess you'd call me here at Brett Robson. And a couple months ago, when our team was doing our team takeovers, I shared how much I loved making candles, especially the goddess candles. And so many people had asked us, like, how do I do it? Can you sell them to us? And so for the past couple months, the team and myself have been working on getting you guys this amazing DIY box that you can make the candles yourself so that you can enjoy the process rather than just purchasing the candle. Hey, you can even turn this into a business. So today I'm going to be sharing with you guys our soi-mème candle making box. I am so excited and the team is just as excited as me. So I'm going to share with you guys what's inside. So inside your soi-mème DIY candle box, we've got for you a couple things that you're going to need in order to make your candles. We've got 500 grams of wax. We've got 1 goddess mold, 1 cube mold, vanilla fragrance oil, some stirrers and a craft needle. And we've provided you with 8 wicks. Our soi-mème DIY candle box costs 500 Rand, and aside from the contents of the box, also comes with handy instructions to talk you through how you're going to make your beautiful candles. So obviously the wax does not come with any color in the box. So basically what we've done is we provided you with some added extras that you can purchase separately on the Brett Robson website. We've got some mica pigments in 3 different shades. There's brown, black pearl, and pink peach. So now my personal favorite is actually the pink peach. I think it's really cute and pretty. But obviously you've got choices, and we will show you how the candles are going to look on the website so you'll be able to see what the color is going to look like when you make your candles. These will retail for 60 Rand for 10 grams of mica pigments. So aside from the torso mold and the cube mold, you can also purchase a shell mold on our website for the price of 150 Rand. So the shell mold is really, really cute. It comes in this cute little packaging and you can make yourself a cute little shell. I mean, this is literally just the sweetest thing. And I think it's really a nice added extra if you'd like to do something different other than the other 2 molds that are provided in the DIY box. So aside from our DIY box, which will give you all the tools you need to make your beautiful candles, you will need a few more things in order to get your candles ready and being made. So you will need a little saucepan like this, or a pot, and then an enamel jug or glass jug also works fine. You will also need a digital thermometer to make sure that your candles are being poured at the correct temperature, that you're adding your fragrance or your pigments at the correct temperature as well. This is one of the most important things that you're going to need in order to make sure your candles look beautiful. Okay, so first things first, we've got to make sure we prep before we get anything else started. Now, I've been making candles for a good couple months now. And I don't really do a lot of prep, but I think especially if you're a beginner, it's very important that you first prep. Make sure that you're working in a clean area on a sturdy surface. So on the counter, I've laid down some newspaper so that we don't mess the counters with the wax. Wax is so messy, it gets on your hands, it gets everywhere. So it's very important that when you are working, you work in a space that is clean and sturdy. So now your DIY candle box comes with 500 grams of wax. You're going to be able to make about 4 of the goddess candles and 4 of the cube candles as well. Obviously you can switch it up if you don't want to make 4 and 4. You could obviously make a few more of the goddess candles, or you could make a bunch of the cube candles as well. And obviously we also do sell the shell candle, which you can purchase separately for 150 Rand on the Brett Robson website. And today I actually decided that I'm going to make all 3 of the candles that we have molds for. So first things first, I want to get the wicks out the way. So very important, I'm going to insert the wicks in each of these candle molds so that I know I'm prepped and I'm ready, and then I'll move on to working with the wax, deciding how much wax we're going to use, and fragrance oil and all of that. So we've obviously provided you with 8 wicks in your box. Basically, this is enough to make, as I said, what you can make from the wax, which is 4 of the torso, the goddess ones, and then also 4 of the cube molds as well. So I'm going to take out 3 of these Basically, it's got cute little washi tape on it, and I need 3. So what's nice about these size wicks that we've actually provided you with, you can actually cut this one in half for the cube mold. So basically, if you wanted to, you just slice it in half, and this is going to be perfect to go with the cube, so you're not wasting that much of the wick. So I need one of those, and then I need one here. So in your box, we've also given you a craft needle and some stirrers. I'm just going to pop the stirrers aside because I'm going to be using those later, and then we've obviously just got your craft needle. So very important here, what you're going to do is you're going to thread the wick through the craft needle, because this is how you are going to be inserting the wick into your candle mold. So I've already actually got holes in mine, but you just poke a hole through the center, thread the needle through with your wick, and just pull it through the other side. And basically what you're going to have is your wick sticking out on both ends of the mold. So for now, I'm just going to thread the wicks through these, and I will show you what we do next. Now, when it comes to the shell mold, you thread this one through a little differently. There's no need to use the craft needle. All you're going to do is basically take your wick and slip it through. There's a little hole here, and you're going to slip it through that little piece, pop the mold back on the other half, and then you're basically just going to seal the mold with the elastic bands provided. And that's what your shell mold is going to look like once you've got your wick attached. And then it's basically ready for you to just obviously just trim it a little bit at the top. And then next we're going to start prepping our wax. So now that we've prepped our molds with our wicks, our next step is to work with the wax and prepare our wax for melting, which is obviously going to go into the candle mold. As previously mentioned, this is 500 grams of wax, and it will make about 4 of the goddess candles and 4 of the cube candles as well. So in order to make just one batch, which is 1 torso and then 1 of the cubes, you only need about 125 grams of wax. However, I'm going to be making the shell candle as well. So for that, I'm going to need, I think, about 40 or 50 grams more. So I'm actually just going to pop it into a glass jug, and I'm just going to weigh it up, and then from there we'll start melting the wax. So I'm going to place my jug filled with wax into the boiling hot water here on the stove. So basically what you're going to do is create a double boiler. So you obviously cannot put the jar straight onto the stove. You cannot use the wax in a pot and put it straight on the stove. You have to create a double boiler situation where you've got a pot with hot water, and then you put your wax in a separate container and then put it in the water. That is very important, guys. Please do not put the wax directly to the heat, because then it will just cause a disaster. Okay, so the wax is almost melted, and we are waiting for it to reach a temperature of 100 degrees. It's very important that you do not let your wax exceed a temperature of 105 degrees. So for this, I'm not going to be using any color or anything, so I'm just waiting for it to melt through completely and for the wax to be absolutely translucent. Translucent means obviously it's see-through. So basically it must be clear, and I'm just going to mix it a little and wait for it to reach the temperature of 100 degrees. Okay, so our wax has reached 100 degrees and it is completely melted and it is translucent in the jar. So we're just going to pop it out the jar now. And we're going to place it one side where we're going to be working with it and adding the fragrance oil. Okay, so I'm not adding any pigment to this one. I'm just going to keep it as is, which is going to be white, which is the color of the wax. And basically, so we just need to add fragrance oil to this, and then we're going to pour it into the molds that we have set up over here. Basically, what we're going to do is I'm going to wait for it to get to a temperature of 75 degrees, because that's the ideal temperature to pour the fragrance oil into the hot wax. And then I just need to also work out the percentage of fragrance oil that we're going to use. I always recommend 6% for paraffin wax, do not exceed more than 8% or 10%. You don't want to go more than that, because what will happen is that your candles will be a mess. You should not exceed that percentage of fragrance oil for this amount of wax that you have. So I just need to work it out quickly. What is the percentage that I need to actually basically be using? Okay, so I need to add in approximately 12 ml of fragrance oil. So I'm going to use a measuring cup, which I just have over here, to estimate how much fragrance oil that I should be using for the 6% percentage that's going to be going into my melted wax. Guys, this vanilla fragrance oil smells so good. It smells absolutely amazing. I really love it. And we actually chose vanilla because I think it's the most universal fragrance that you could offer everyone and that everyone would like. So that's why we did opt for vanilla, and it just smells so yum. Love it. Okay, so our wax has reached the desired temperature of 75 degrees, and I'm going to be adding our fragrance oil in very slowly. And just nicely mixing it in. The pour temperature of 70 degrees is now ready, and we're going to pour very, very slowly. I'm just going to use some chopsticks, and we're just going to place it here just to keep the wick from moving too far forward. And then I'm just going to use the others and just do this. Okay, so now that we've poured our melted wax into our molds, we're going to let them stand for about an hour. And it's an hour because what we're going to do is do a re-pour. So what happens, especially with paraffin wax, is in the center it's going to almost sink a little. So what I like to do is just leave a little bit of space at the top, come back in an hour, trim the top of the wick off, and then re-pour so that the bottom of the candle looks nice and smooth. And then you re-poured, and then it's just going to look really awesome when you've got your finished candle. Okay, so we've had our candles setting for about 1 hour in the molds, and now we are ready for a re-pour. So I've got the wax melting in front of me, and I'm going to be trimming the wicks off the candles here. And basically then we're going to re-pour and let it set and cure for another 6 to 12 hours. Now, most people won't do a re-pour, but I personally like to do a re-pour because I feel like it just makes the candle look a lot more finished when you turn it upside down and look at it, and it just, for me, completes the whole process. Especially because with the type of wax that we're using, it does sink in the center and it creates that hollowness. So for me, this is the perfect thing to do. We did choose paraffin wax because, one, it's cost effective, and we felt like with this DIY box, because a lot of people are doing this for the first time, this was the better option to go with from that perspective for newbies. Obviously, at a later stage, if you'd like to migrate to other types of wax, you can definitely do that and do your research as to what the requirements are for each different type of wax that you're going to be using. Okay, so basically what I'm going to be doing now is unmolding my candles. A little premature, but for the purpose of this video, I wanted to unmold the candles that I did make for you guys earlier. I hope you have enjoyed this tutorial. Just remember, when it comes to making candles, this is also going to be a trial and error process. There's a lot of things that I've learned as I've made candles over and over and over again. And still, just last night I made a candle and it absolutely flopped because I use too much fragrance oil. But that's, you know, that's also just me winging it. A lot of the time, I'll be honest, I actually don't use a thermometer 90% of the time when I'm making candles. I'm that type of person. I just like go with what I feel is right. And that's what I also want you to guys to also keep in mind is as much as you should be following the instructions because that's technically what you should be doing, you know, just also just like kind of just go with what your gut feeling is as well. And I hope this is an enjoyable process for you. Just remember to, you know, keep a couple things in mind. Don't put too much fragrance. If you're gonna put too much fragrance, you're gonna end up with a candle that looks horrible at the top, because when it's like this, all the fragrance just ends up pulling to the bottom, and then when you demold it, it basically ends up a mess, and you don't want that. Also, when it comes to adding pigments, if you're going to add pigments, definitely just start off in small doses and add color as you're going along and see how does it look. So don't just add a whole lot of color because you can't go back from that. But you can start off small and keep on adding on. And most importantly, just enjoy the process and have fun with it. We curated the soi-mème DIY candle box to be a fun process for you. Soi-mème is oneself, it's for you. It's something that you can do for yourself. And we just want you to have fun with it. Remember, you can purchase it via shopbrettropson.com for 500 Rand, and then we've got the shell mold for 150 Rand and the mica pigment for 60 Rand as well. Those are just added extras, but obviously you can just do it with just the soi-mème DIY candle box. So now I'm going to unmold these. As I said, it is a little premature because it hasn't been 12 hours yet, but I'm going to unmold them just so that you guys can see the unmolding process for your reference as well. Okay, so I've unmolded my candles and here's the reveal. They're very pretty, just the way I expected them to be, obviously. I love the vanilla scent, it smells so good. I did over pour this one a little bit of like over the top, so I did just clean up around the base. But other than that, this cube one came out really cute, perfect. Actually, so perfect if I don't mind, like, you know, just toot my own horn. But why I love the re-pour process especially. When you look at the candle from the bottom, you don't see the wick there, and I love that. Personally, for me, that's one of my pet peeves, is when I see people with the candle wick sticking out the bottom. I think there shouldn't be a candle wick showing. That's just where I like to do it as well. And so that's why I re-pour. So I want you guys to definitely try the re-pour process, that you have a beautiful, clean candle at the bottom. So guys, again, thank you guys so much for joining us today. I hope you have enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope it makes it easier for you to enjoy your soi-mème DIY candle box. Yeah, this has been a fun process for myself and the team, and we've had so much fun curating the box and obviously also creating this content for you guys. If you do purchase the DIY box, please do share it on social media at Brett Robson. You can find us on TikTok, on Instagram, Facebook, and obviously www.shopbrettropson.com. Until next time, guys. Bye.